Next up, we have Tuning Cylinder, the Seraphs from the Vintage Story original soundtrack. Once again, everybody, this is a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I'm a professionally trained musician, a composer, and my objective here is to explain things in a way so that you don't have to be one to understand what's happening here, musically. So, if you like the sound of that, make sure you're following the channel, subscribe to the channel, whatever term you want to use, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, become a member, all that good stuff. Support this channel as much as you want. And of course, 2 disclaimers. Number 1, this is my first time hearing this track, so I will be pausing a lot, as I will be pointing things out as I hear them. And number 2, this is recorded live on stream on a single take. So I might stumble upon my words. Whatever happens, happens. So, let's do this. Let's do this. Tuning Cylinder, the Seraphs. Let's go. We're 5 seconds in and I already love it. So, we start with 2 main elements. We have this toy box synth that is very, very emblematic by now of Vintage Story. I've been playing Vintage Story on the weekends. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I think it's a kalimba. Yes, I think that's the name of it. I think it's a kalimba. I think it's a kalimba. I think that's it. Hang on. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Oh my God! I've spent weeks trying to remember what this instrument is. It's a kalimba. Thank you. So this is this kind of like hand organ. It sounds absolutely lovely. It is an incredible, incredible instrument, and it sounds very innocent. It sounds like it's mixed with this. Maybe there's a second layer with a toy box kind of thing. And oh my God, yes, a kalimba. I'm so gonna forget this name again. But there you go. So we have this kalimba giving us an arpeggio. Arpeggio is when you play a chord 1 note at a time. And then we have already a flying melody. So, flying melody is a colloquial term that I use. Colloquial just means that there is no academic official term for it, or at least I'm not using it. And this is for the sake of making things easy to understand. So, we are having the kalimba, of course, giving us this middle range arpeggio. It's giving us the landscape. And then on top of that, we have our melody with our motif, by the way. The motif being the smallest version of your musical idea. The seed, the essence from which everything else comes from. And we're having a kalimba in motion, giving us a somewhat busy rhythm going on there. And then the melody being a lot slower, higher than everything else, flying and soaring through everything else, through the landscape that is being set. Very, very beautiful way of doing this. And of course, the motif being a very lovely mirror of itself, because the motif is a leap upwards and then a leap downwards, and it's a very beautiful melody. Let's see where this goes, because this was from just 5 seconds. Let's see where this goes. Yeah, it seems it's very reliant on kalimba. We bring in some strings. Oh, this is beautiful. So yes, now we are bringing some percussion. There seems to be like some hi-hats or shakers or something. And it is very, 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 very lovely. We bring in the string orchestra. String orchestra, of course, it is the name to the ensemble that you get when you put together a section, 2 sections of violins. Violin number 1, violin number 2, 1 section of violas, 1 section of cellos, and I'm covering part of it, and 1 section of double basses. What does section means? It means that there's more than 1 player in it. So usually in an orchestra, depending on the size, it's going to be anywhere between 2 all the way to even 20 at times per section of violins. And it's going to be proportionate. So the first and second violins are going to be the same number of players. So the ensembles I've seen, the orchestras I've seen, 12 of each. So 12 first violins, 12 second violins. Then the violas are a little bit less. So 10 violas in the case of this hypothetical. 8 cellos, and then 6 double basses. Because these instruments get bigger, therefore they're louder, you need less of them to be able to get the sound. And then, of course, we have this very, very, very beautiful, just holding the chords on the lower end of the strings, like, the lower range, kind of almost middle and bass. There's no higher strings being played. The very, very beautiful way of using the string orchestra, doing what is called a crescendo and decrescendo. So a crescendo means to grow. Decrescendo is the opposite. And that just means to get louder and then quieter. So it gives you this sense of like waves going. It's very much this relative wave of dynamics that we are getting, and it is absolutely, it's working. It's working. Let's see where this goes. Crescendo and diminuendo. Diminuendo is another way of putting it, yeah. Depends on the on which academic, but yeah, diminuendo is another one. Yeah, diminuendo. So it can be crescendo and diminuendo, or crescendo and then decrescendo. It can be either. Those are interchangeable. Because I've seen scores with both. Mainly because of the Germans. Because a lot of the German composers were like, "Oh, which was the word? Just put a D, like just put D in front of it. It just means the opposite, right? Because it's Italian. Like they just put those prefixes, so just do it. So yeah, it can be either. With music, there are a lot of terms that are like that they're interchangeable, that kind of thing. So yeah, diminuendo or decrescendo. Like I've seen both. So yeah, let's. It's a very mystical melody. Yes. So let's see where this goes. We're getting and the melody is going mystical. We're getting now the full motif again. Okay, so now we are getting a couple of things happening with the melody. And yes, Valerie, remind me after that to make a pets channel on the Discord, because I just realized, yeah, we're going to need a place for people to show up their pets. So yes, now we are having several things happening with the melody. Very funky sound, but number one, we are getting a reduction. We're getting a reduction, rhythmic reduction. What does that mean? It's happening a little bit faster than it was before. So it's still the same shape, the same overall melody that is happening. Is just happening in a shorter period of time. And we're also getting some, not repetition, sequencing. We're getting some sequencing, which means we are playing the same melody, we're just starting it from a different point in the scale, and that is what is allowing this melody to go even higher and higher and higher than it was before, because we are sequencing it. And of course, because this melody has two main halves, we have the going up half and then we have the going down half, we are having this very cool division where we can take then the second half and sequence that or reduce that. So we are taking this motif. We are very much just coming up with very, very cool variations. We're tuning this motif to fit the environment that it's in. Yeah. Let's see. There are Okay, and now we are getting a doubling. So we are getting, again, this melody. We're doing a very, very effective thing when it comes to developing a melody. You introduce the melody on a single instrument first. You let it play all the way through. Then you introduce it again. You repeat it, but with a doubling. So when it comes to orchestration and instrumentation, a doubling just means you have more than one instrument playing the same melody, just according to the instrument, to the instrument's range and timbre and everything, right? So in this case, we are getting the same melody that we just got, except now we're adding some violins and one of the synths that I've heard a lot in Vintage Story. So it's a very, very lovely, very good combination to have this now, because now it's giving it a bit of extra texture that the first time around, it just wasn't there. I didn't know I needed it. Turns out it's really cool. Let's see where this goes. We bring in a piano. And now the piano is doing something that the piano it's not uncommon, but it's not common either. The piano is being the rhythmic, it's very much being the rhythm section, which it's fairly rare for a piano to do unless it's like a solo accompaniment kind of thing, which, you know, a solo accompaniment is that there's one singer and there's one piano and that's it. So in a sense like this, it's fairly rare to have a piano be the one giving you the beat. But we're doing it here, and it's a very, very interesting texture because it keeps things fairly light. Because there's no hit of the drums. We don't have that boom boom that those booms that we get from a bass drum or from a snare or something like that. But we are still getting the somewhat percussive nature of a piano. It's a very fascinating thing to see. Let's see where this goes. And yeah, the string orchestra is really coming at it. Yep, bring it up, bring up the melody. Ooh, very beautiful. And we go off the ramp. So we had a moment of developing the melody, just letting the melody do its thing, and we're still doing this escalation where we are cutting the melody in half, and then we're allowing the second half of the melody to go even further up and up and up. So it's very, very cool to see this. And then we went off the ramp. We're going off the ramp is another colloquial term that I use. It is a way of transitioning between sections that makes you feel like you've gone off a ramp. You're suspended up in the air. You are at the mercy of inertia, waiting to see what happens there. How did this happen? You remove the percussive, the rhythm. In this case, you just have the piano not play for a little bit. All the piano was doing was playing some block chords, whatever chords the kalimba was arpeggiating, just playing them as full chords in the lower end, and some notes here and there kind of giving adornments, kind of doubling the melody, kind of doubling the accompanying, but dancing back and forth between this balance, giving you a very rounded element that pianos tend to have. So Hayes, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the mosh pit. Welcome to today. How you doing? Let's see where this goes. So yes, and okay, so now we are having a fairly rare instance when it comes to an orchestra, especially this early. We are getting a tutti. Tutti is more of a jazz term, but it is used right now, and it is very, very lovely. The entire ensemble is playing the exact same thing, just on their own way. Everyone is playing the same thing. We're just getting it from everybody. Of course, some of them are still holding the chords kind of thing, but everybody's playing rhythmically the same thing. And I appreciate it, Hayes. I appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. So yes, this is really cool. This is really, really cool, and it's a very, very good way of bringing forward a climax, to just have a tutti. It's powerful, and you're using basically the entire range, the entire vertical range of the octaves that you have when you do something like this, bringing everyone on the same page. Everything is tuned. We're all doing this. Let's see where this goes. Went from minor to major as well, yes. Ooh. Yeah, and something interesting here is that we keep bouncing back between the major and the minor scale, which, to not make things too complicated, the minor scale is usually associated with melodies being a little bit sadder, a little bit more down-putting, down-to-earth kind of thing. Major scales tend to be a bit more joyful, a bit more happy, a bit more giddy in that sense, and we keep bouncing back and forth these two in a parallel way that is pretty difficult to achieve, especially if you're not modulating too much. So what are these terms, right? So when it comes to these, I mentioned the concept of parallel, and I mentioned the concept of modulation. So let's tackle the concept of modulation first. Modulation is something that happens, of course, in music a lot. When you're making music, you have three main blocks. You have melody, you have harmony, you have rhythm. When it comes to harmony, harmony is what chords you use, what relation do they have between one another, what relation they have to the scale that you have. When you're making music, you have a musical scale. No matter what song, unless you're doing some like atonal weird thing, you are going to have some sort of scale that you are using. And these scales, whatever notes you put in the scale, are going to be the notes that you have in your harmony. Because those notes are going to dictate what chords you can make. Those chords will be your harmony. And modulating just means you go from one set of chords to a different set of chords. Now, when it comes to this kind of thing, what scales happen, there are two types. There's parallel and then there's relative. And these concepts are kind of backwards when it comes to music, but let me go through the whole thing, right? So when it comes to a relative scale, it means you have the same notes in your scale, except you're starting from a different spot. So let's take the scale of C major, right? So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then C is our octave. So a relative scale to C major would be a scale that shares the exact same notes, but starts in a different spot. For example, this scale of G mixolydian. It has the same notes as C major, it just starts from the note of G instead of the note of C. However, a parallel scale means the first and the last, or the first note or the root note is the same, and the notes in between are different. So for example, the easiest one would be the key of C minor. A flat, B flat, and then C. So these two scales are parallel to each other because they're both in the key of C. It's just that the top one is C major, the bottom one is C minor. So those are parallel. And modulating between a parallel major and a parallel minor can be a tricky thing, because then you need to rely on some tricks that can be, like, they're risky tricks that can very easily not work. However, considering the vibe and nature that we've gotten here from Tuning Cylinder, it has worked very, very nicely. Why? Because a good chunk of the modulation came from the melody. A good chunk of this came from the melody engaging in something called chromaticism. So, all of these notes that we are having here are 7 notes out of the 12 existing notes of the chromatic scale. The chromatic scale is just all the notes that you get. Joao, welcome to the day. How you doing? So, let me just... So chromaticism is when you borrow notes from the chromatic scale that do not belong to the scale that you're in. So, for example, in between C and D, there is one note, C sharp or D flat. So if you are in the key of C major and then you put a C sharp or a D flat, that is chromaticism, because you're borrowing from the chromatic scale for whatever purposes. In this case, the melody slowly but surely was slowly introducing chromaticism throughout each iteration of it, and it turns out this chromaticism was being used to modulate between the C parallel major and the C parallel minor, because it was having that chromaticism already there, which was kind of in the sense of, oh, the melody's breaking down. But it turns out it wasn't. It was engaging in chromaticism, and it was for a very, very good purpose, to modulate between the parallel modes over here. Very, very, very... And yes, pretty much anyone can play the chromatic scale. It's all the keys of the keyboard. it's all the frets of the guitar, one after the other. That is the chromatic scale. Yeah, it's probably the easiest scale to play. Let's see how this goes. We've got 20 seconds left. Let's see. We continue with the tutti. Yes. Okay. The only change I would have made here would have been to make it even quieter. So we now go from the tutti, the entire ensemble, grandiose, just bringing everything, and we take it back down to the kalimba. This is one of the best ways to resolve tension. Because once again, when you're making music, you are doing one of two things. Anytime. You are building tension or you are resolving that tension. The moment in between those two, we call a cadence. So, usually when you have these kinds of grandiose, just building up, you have a lot of instruments going on, you are waiting for that bombastic resolution, high note. One of the most powerful things that you can do is to completely deceive and just turn around and just change it to the smallest, quietest thing you can do. In this case, the kalimba. I would have made it even quieter than it is right now. It's still very powerful. But yeah, just having the kalimba, doing this, yeah, the clock winds down kind of thing, and just have it tune down and slow down. And let's see where this goes. Playing that motif. Playing those... Yep. Oh, and in the background, you can actually hear, like, the gears turning and everything. And there you go. That was beautiful, man. That was beautiful. Oh, the OST so far for Vintage Story has been insanely good. Insanely good. Lo-Fi has made a very, very brilliant job with this whole thing. I highly recommend Vintage Story. Like, Jazz got me into Vintage Story. I haven't even gotten to the story parts yet, and it's still incredible. Andy, welcome today. How you doing? So there you go. That was Tuning Cylinder, the Seraphs, from the Vintage Story original soundtrack. Once again, everybody, this has been a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I'm a professionally trained musician, a composer, and my objective here has been to explain things in a way so that you don't have to be one to understand what's happened here musically. So, if you are watching this on the YouTube archive thing, thank you for watching. Make sure you're following the channel, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. If you're on the stream, you can start requesting songs. If you're not on the stream, go to the Discord. It's linked down below. Go to the LFA requests channel and follow the instructions on the pinned messages there. If you don't follow the instructions, you're gonna get ignored, or you're gonna get yelled at, because Eva has the authorization to yell at people. And of course, if you want to catch the streams when they happen live, we aim for Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Central European Time. If you want to know what time that is for you, links down below to the Twitch and the Discord, showing the streams on your local time zone. And yeah, also follow the gaming channel. We have a gaming channel. Games are Basterd. It's linked down below, or just search for this same username, swap the J for a G, and you got it. That's where we put the VODs for the games we've been playing. We've been playing some Vintage Story, Final Fantasy, Alan Wake. We've been playing some really, really good stuff. I intend to catch up to all the video games I couldn't play. So there you go. And yeah, there you go. There you go. I don't know. Yeah, Vintage Story soundtrack. It's just insane, dude. So there you go. There you have it. Tuning Cylinder. Really, really good stuff. But yeah, let's move on.